Hello, Tashidale. Welcome back to Dharma Sharing Season 4. I hope you have been doing well, taking care of yourself, staying in. So before we start today's session, obviously, we should recite lavish prayers and generate bodhicitta. Sangye Jodan Zoge Jonam Lai Jangju Bardo Dane Gyabson Je Dage Jinzo Gebe Sonam Ge Rola Benjer Sangye Ruparasho Sangye Jodan Zoge Jonam Lai Jangju Bardo Dane Gyabson Je Dage Jinzo Gebe Sonam Ge Rola Benjer Sangye Ruparasho Sangye Jodan Zoge Jonam Lai Jangju Bardo Dane Gyabson Je Dage Jinzo Gebe Sonam Ge Rola Benjer Sangye Ruparasho Semjen tamje dewa dan dewe gyo dan dembara gyo je donga dan donga gyo gyo dan dawa gyo je donga mebe dewa namba dan ben dawa gyo je gire zada gyo dan tanyum jembo la nebara gyo je semjen tamje dewa dan dewe gyo dan dembara gyo je donga dan donga gyo dan dawa gyo je donga mebe dewa namba dan ben dawa gyo je gire zada gyo dan Tanyum Jembola never your jazz and jandam jen, the one down the way you done, the boy you jen, the one down the line you done, the way you jen, the one maybe the one the bottom and the way you jen, you jen, the line you done. Tanyum Jembola never your jam, but then the way la marin boys, dagi to pendant and shola, Godin Jembo, but then just only. Kusun to game would drove the door. Ona namga da nyam be sim je tam je la na me ba ya ba bo do be chang ju ge bo bang la chi ne yang go bar ja ye je do sam ba chang ju jo do ge ne dam be chu su shin do nyam so dem ba ja wo nyam de sem bo ra shu de yang ka sem bo ja we chu ni kam de nyam me ta bo la je se sha be ge ani ta bu tar ge shi mi shu ba ja la. So the Dharma that we are trying to understand or studying is the instructions by Lord Gampopa from his book called the Jewel Ornament of Liberation. And this text, obviously, as we all know, that is quite popular among the Kagyu students in Kagyu Kshetras and Kagyu retreat centers or Kagyu devotees. They practice, they study these texts and they practice according to the instructions. So therefore, it is fortunate for us to be able to, try to hear these beautiful instructions and try to implement these words of wisdoms into our day-to-day life, so that we can, make differences in our daily life. That it can bring us, kind of blessing. How we can able to, support our dharma activity, dharma practice. By using this words of wisdom from Gampopa, we'll be able to, do the dharma in a very proper way. We'll be able to understand what are different types of dharma that Buddha has given to us according to the capacity of students. We also know that all sentient beings, they do have the potential or the primary cause, which is known as the Buddha nature. So if one apply remedy, apply to all these cause and conditions properly, then we already have this primary cause. Then we'll be able to witness its result. So therefore, it is quite important that we know this, and we all, we should be optimistic, because there's already the seed already is within us. Seed is already planted. So what we need to do is we need to take care of this seed. We need to, flourish this seed. We need to try to take care of this seed so that it will be, flourish, and we'll be able to witness its sprout as a result. So in order to make this seed, to flourish and to become sprout, or the result of it, we need to, practice these wonderful teachings, especially the method, how to practice the Dharma. And especially as per the instructions from Mahayana vehicle, we should understand the bodhicitta. That's the main teachings of the Mahayana. And bodhicitta, not just aspirations, bodhicitta, not just wishing sentient beings to be happy and free from suffering of samsara, but also implementing the cause for this, implementing the cause and condition for this, so that we'll be able to really benefit, sentient beings, bringing them into happiness and taking their sufferings away from them. And the means of doing so, the most important thing, how one can benefit sentient beings, is not by taking their sins or their shortcomings, their obstacles away, because that's not possible. Buddha himself said that I cannot take away your sufferings or sin or non-virtuous activities. Neither I can, pour water on your crown so that I can clear away your obstacles. The only way I can benefit you is to show you the proper way, show you the proper guidance, proper instructions. So this is how Buddha can benefit sentient beings. So like him, we as a Buddha's follower, we should also, try to understand these teachings first, contemplate its meanings, implement this into our day-to-day life, and then, when you see it is working, when you see the flourishing of the results, when you really experience the results of this teaching, then you not only hide that for yourself, not only cling to that, peaceful state of mind like, arhats, but then show other sentient beings the real truth path, the real proper instructions, the real cause and condition to make that happen. Because you have realized this, happiness. So you do also want to see others happy, isn't it? Because that was your aspiration, that you want to see all sentient beings happy. So now you know that what makes them happy or what brings them to experience this happiness. What are the proper path and conditions? So, and you already went to this process, the long process of paths and bhumis. So then you are now skilled in this. You are professional in this. So then you guide others by showing the same truth of path. The same path that you have went along with, the same path that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas has gone in the past. Thereby, they were able to experience these results of happiness, permanent happiness. So, just like them, we also should, not be stingy. We should be, more generous by sharing this path to introduce other sentient beings, so that they will be able to, take this path. They will be able to walk on this path. They will be able to implement these instructions, and they too will be able to experience complete and permanent happiness. They too will be free from the chain of suffering. They too will not need to come back to samsara to experience these endless sufferings of different realms. And if they really want to come back to samsara, then they have a choice now, because they have already awakened. So they have a choice, and they do not need to come to samsara by the power of ignorance, by the power of defilements. That will be a different case then. So we also should, target that kind of happiness, that kind of result. So therefore, the practice of the bodhicitta is very, very important. And not only aspiration bodhicitta, but engaged bodhicitta. You need to train in these trainings. And here, what we are talking is the 6 paramitas, which are the main trainings that one should, really train, that one should really, practice these 6 paramitas. Then only you will be able to experience the result. Otherwise, if you do not train in these 6 paramitas, if you do not practice these 6 paramitas, then just having aspirations bodhicitta, just having good wish to benefit other sentient beings, and just having good wish to see sentient beings free from suffering of samsara will not bring any good result. There's actually good intention or good aspiration, but there's no practical, way how one can really experience this happiness. So if you really want to experience the result of it, then you should implement the cause for this. You should walk on the path that leads us to that destination, that result, that permanent happiness, that which is free from all the departments, which is free from ignorance. So therefore, now we are trying to implement this, 6 paramitas. And by knowing that this is the main path that lead us to complete and perfect enlightenment. So therefore, trying to understand and study and implement the 6 paramitas into our practice is very important. If you are lacking 6 paramitas in your practice, then you are lacking the key important practices. And as we know that 6 paramita, is inclusive of the accumulations of merit and accumulations of wisdom. In order to attain perfect and complete happiness or enlightenment, we need to have 2 causes. That is the accumulations of merit and accumulations of wisdom. So some paramitas are the cause for accumulations of merits, and others are the cause for accumulations of wisdom. And particularly now we are talking about the path that is the cause for accumulations of wisdom, because accumulations of wisdom only brings you to complete and perfect enlightenment. Accumulations of merit are the support for this, and we need this both. Therefore there are 6 paramitas. Therefore we need to practice all 6 paramitas. Okay, so we'll continue where we stop. The 5th paramita, that is the meditative concentration, perfections of meditative concentration. And now we know that meditation is very important, right? Not just reciting mantras, not just making offerings or doing circumambulations of monasteries or stupa, not just only making practicing generosity is enough. We need to progress. We need to promote our practice. We should not just stick there. We should not just stick there on the accumulations of merit only. We should also look forward to the key cause that brings us to complete and perfect enlightenment, that is the accumulations of merits. Therefore, in order to attain these accumulations of wisdom, promote the awakening state of mind or the promoted wisdom, we need to have meditative concentration. On the base of very stable and strong meditative concentration, then you'll be able to realize the wisdom awareness. So therefore, this meditative concentration is very, very important. Sometimes we think meditation is not so important, but it is the main cause here. If you really want to free your ignorance, if you really want to see the true nature of all phenomena, then you will be able to see this only by means of meditative concentration. If your mind is scattered everywhere, if you are overpowered or ruled by these thoughts, then you never reach to that complete and the result, that realizations of promoted wisdom. So what we really need to do here is to look at our mind, to know the nature of our mind. And the way how we can look at our mind is by bringing mind into one position. If you are just scattered everywhere with different thoughts, if you're agitated by different discursive thoughts, then you will never be able to focus. You will not be able to maintain in stable, calm, abiding state of mind. So therefore, this practice is very, very important. Then we should know what is the beneficial effects of this meditation and what is the faults of not having meditative concentration. So that we studied, right? Then we also studied that if you really want to have a good meditative concentration, we need to be free from, what you call is opposites, the obscurations of meditative concentration, that is agitation. You should be avoiding two distractions, one should avoid two distractions, isolating mind from discursive thoughts and isolating body from physical agitation. So this will then free your distractions. So now here, first one we already studied, and now second one, how can we free our mind from agitations of discursive thoughts? Then Gampopa did mention here, we need to place our mind. We need to implement remedies in order to free ourselves from discursive thoughts. So we should implement, or apply. We should apply remedy, meditation or remedies towards our negative afflictions and emotions, which are the strongest within us. They'll be, if you apply them step by step, then it will be easy for us, because we are always overpowered by different negative afflictions and emotions, and it's uncertain that which kind of negative afflictions and emotions is stronger in you. So therefore, what we need to do is we need to first try to realize, first try to understand what kind of person you are, what kind of negative afflictions and emotion is stronger in you. So that is why he said that you should meditate and apply the remedy for whichever afflicting emotion is strongest. So there are 6 different types of negative afflictions and emotions, or negative, poisons, 6 poisons. So Gampopa wants us to apply this remedy, meditate and apply remedy to each of these departments. So first he talked about, if you are someone who has a great deal of attachment towards your body or towards your retinue, spouse, children, parents, and so forth, then what we need to do is we need to contemplate on the its nature of ugliness or impure components of our body. Thereby we'll be able to reduce our attachment. That's one instruction, how we can meditate and apply remedy to that attachment by meditating on its nature of ugliness, or the nature of the impure components that are present within our body. Or you can also meditate on the impermanence nature of our body, or suffering nature of our body. Second instruction was, if you are someone who is always angry, who is always disturbed, who is always, not confident, who is always worrying and therefore brings a kind of anger in them, then you should meditate and apply remedy to that anger. And how can you do is, you can do by meditating loving kindness and compassion, starting from yourself. If you're trying to know yourself, if you're trying to have love and concern for yourself, then slowly you'll be able to have the same kind of concern for others, your surroundings, your retinues, and so forth, and thereby you'll be able to expand this loving kindness towards all sentient beings. So that's the second type of meditation that one can apply remedy in order to reduce your anger. Then third one, that is the topic of today. If you are someone who do not know what is right and what is wrong, if you are someone who cannot discriminate between the things that you need to adopt and the things that you need to be avoiding them. So then here Gampopa says, if you are someone who is having a great deal of ignorance, then the remedy to this ignorance is to contemplate on interdependence origination. If you are someone who do not know why you suffer, if you are someone who do not know why you age, why you fade, why you die, why you get ill, then you should contemplate and try to understand the meaning of dual links, or you can call it interdependence origination. So this is what we are trying to understand today. Okay. Before this, we also should remember that during the meditation, there are two types of meditation, as I mentioned earlier session. One is the direct placing your mind into one particular subject or particular thing, and not thinking anything, just not forgetting that particular object in front of you, or placing your mind just at that present. Or you can also, place your mind on breathing, just on that. Or just simply looking at the nature of your mind, just not forgetting your mind, not overtaken or overruled by those thoughts, but just not forgetting that. Simply looking at the nature of your mind. That is one type of meditation. And here, what we are trying to now do is the second type of meditation, which is like trying to see the reasons why, look at the reasons behind it. What in medical meditation term, it's called like analytical meditation, analyzing things. So here also, for someone who is great deal of ignorance, then he or she should understand these dual links and try to focus on dual links. Why we are here, why are we suffering in samsara? So lots of investigation is going on within that state of mind, meditation mind. So that is what we are trying to do here, analytical meditation, trying to investigate. So therefore, we are trying to now do this meditation on dual link, or contemplating on the interdependence origination. Okay, so as I mentioned last time in session, end of session, that this dual link, the presentations of this dual link or interdependence origination by Gampopa is quite interesting, and is very easy to understand, because he relates this dual link into 3 lifetimes. Some from previous lifetime, some from present lifetime, and some to the future life. So that makes the circle of existence, or circle of samsara. So this is how we suffer, how we come back into samsara. So if you know this, that this, you should apply this. If you know how to apply this dual link into 12 lifetimes, then you really understand the chain of suffering of samsara. Okay, so first, so we are trying to understand this dual link according to, he says here, this explains according to the desire realm and according to the birth from a mother's womb. There are different types of births, but we are now talking about the particular being of human being, and also explain this dual link according to someone who is born from mother's womb. Okay, so first, I'm sure that you all know what are dual links, right? That's important, at least to know their names, ignorance, mental formation, and so forth. So first, we need to know what are dual links. So I'll just, read this out for your information. The first one is ignorant. Second one, mental formation. Third is the consciousness. And fourth, name and form. Then the fifth is 6 increasing fields. So there are different translations for this, or 6 organs. Then that's 6th, and 7. Sorry, this is the 5th one, and 6 is contact of your organ and object, thereby developing consciousness, sensual consciousness. Then 7th, feeling. 8th, craving. 9th, grasping. 10th, existing. samsara, formation of samsara. Then 11, birth. 12, aging and death. So these are dual link. So among these dual links, so I now try to divide this into 3 lifetimes. So first, ignorant and mental formation. This you should link this to your previous life. The reason why is because why we are here in this present life obviously should go back to previous life, right? So previous lifetime, you are not free from ignorance, not knowing the true nature of your mind, not knowing the emptiness nature of your mind. That's why you come back to samsara again. Because of the not knowing that reality, then you are ignorant. Then you create, because of that ignorance, you create, loss of karma, and that's known as mental formation. First, different thoughts, negative addictions, emotions, and that was expressed through your body and speech. This is how you create karma. Having, for example, with the negative addictions of anger, you react, you express this anger through your body by hitting, killing, and or expressing it by through your speech of using harsh words and so forth. So this is how you create karma. So in a very, shortcut, presenting these two from previous lifetime. In previous lifetime, you did not realize the emptiness nature or the nature of phenomena. So therefore, you are under the overpowered by ignorance, and because of that, you create karma in your previous lifetime. And then the third one, consciousness, and that karma is planted on the consciousness because you have left the body of the previous life and you travel into this life, present life. And how did you come? It's through your consciousness travels. You left the body behind, but your consciousness travels. So therefore, consciousness comes into this present lifetime. So from consciousness, from thought up to ninth, grasping. This happens in present life. Consciousness first goes into mother's womb, then develops all this physical, starting from from what you call embryo up to this existence, and contact and feeling, grasping, and so forth. Another creations of karma are also there. In this present lifetime, the results of our previous karma and comes into this present life, and then there's the development of these 5 skandhas. And then you also there's once you are delivered, once you are come into this life, present lifetime, then you have these 5 sensual faculties, and this 5 sensual faculty contacts 5 sensual objects, and by this contact you develop 5 sensual consciousness, and because of this consciousness, you bring some kind of feeling within you, and then feeling, good and bad feeling, obviously. So you grasp it, good feeling, you do not like bad feeling, and because of attachment to good feeling, you create another karma there, and because of having bad feeling, you create another karma there, of attachment and anger. And this is how you again create the karma for future life. And then from 10th to 12th, that relates to next lifetime, future lifetime. And because existence means another existence. So past, present, and another existence, future. So you're already planting seed for future lifetime. So therefore existence, and then another birth, another aging, another death. So here, this how you should relate this to a link into 3 lifetimes. So that's briefly understanding of this. Now, detailedly here, Gampopa's explanations are very clear, so I will just read them out. So at the very first, there is ignorant, isn't it? We always say the ignorance is the root cause for suffering of samsara or the samsara. We always say ignorance, if you are not free from ignorance, you will always come back to samsara. So at very first, there's ignorance, which is the confusion, and that misunderstand all the knowledges, all the reality. Okay, for example, not knowing that everything is impermanence. So we attach that something, we hold so hard that things are permanent. Likewise, we always do not know the true nature of things as suffering nature, so we always attach to those things which are pleasurable, because not knowing the suffering of change. And this is ignorance again. Not knowing impermanence nature is ignorant. Not knowing suffering nature is ignorant. And finally, not knowing the emptiness nature of phenomena. So these are ignorant, and because of that, in ignorant, we create karma. So here it says, at the very first, there is ignorant, which is the confusion state of mind, or misunderstands all knowledge. Misunderstands impermanence to permanent, suffering to happiness, and non-existent to existent. So these are all, misunderstanding. We think everything is permanent, everything is the samsaric pleasure are pleasant, and everything do really exist as they appear in front of you. So these are all misunderstanding the knowledge, all phenomena. So Buddha said, oh, this is the root cause. Because people do not know that things are impermanent, so they suffer. They hold their mind into something. And once these things falls apart, then there's a great deal of suffering. And also, but not knowing that it's impermanence, they think this is permanent, and they'll hold this, and in order to get this, they will create another karma. Sometimes lying, killing, fighting, quarreling, cheating, all these things are involved, and these are creations of karma. Okay, and not knowing the true nature of emptiness, they think everything really exists. Okay, so this is the root cause. Ignorance. Ignorance brings us into formations of karma, and formating karma or creating karma, obviously then you experience the result. So in other words, you can say, ignorance as a root cause. Because of that, creations of karma, that's the act, and then its result, experiencing its result. So you can also divide this into three: root cause, formation of karma, and experiencing of its result. So you are continuously experiencing these three. So if you do not want to experience the results of suffering of samsara, what you need to do? You need to dispel the cause of the creations of karma. That is the root cause, that main cause. And when you try to dispel the cause for suffering of samsara, then you should be free. You should really know the true nature of things like emptiness, suffering nature, and finally the non-existent nature. So once you're able to know this, then you are already free from the root cause. And you are awakened just like that. There's not something that you should get something extra thing there. It is just knowing, not knowing the true nature. That is like another side of my hand, ignorant. But if you know this true nature of things, then it is like wisdom, very clear, knowing, not misunderstanding of things. But not knowing the true nature of our mind, not knowing the true nature of phenomena, thereby we create karma. Therefore, here The root cause is ignorant. So therefore, Buddhists do not believe that there's someone who creates us, someone who creates our happiness and suffering, someone who creates our formation or our skandhas, our six realms. There's no someone who has created this. We believe in our own creations of karma, and root cause of this creation of karma is the ignorant. So here, the simple understanding is the first is ignorant, which is the condition of all the phenomena. Now, second one, under that influence of ignorance, under the influences of ignorance is created. So if you're under that, if you're not free from that ignorance, for example, if you're not free from that ignorance, then you will follow that ignorance. Then, because of that, he says here, under the influence of ignorance is created the mental formation of karma, of afflicted, virtuous and non-virtuous, including virtues. If you're not free from ignorance, even though your virtuous things are also, that's also falls under samsara. That's why we call mundane virtues. And if you're free from this ignorance, then your virtuous things will be labeled as super mundane virtues. So here, this is called mental formation conditioned by ignorance. Because of ignorance, you create karma. So this from previous lifetime. You have done this in the past. Then next is the present lifetime. Then the third link, that is consciousness. So consciousness travels. We leave our body behind, that's for sure. We have seen this. If you still doubt, then we can look into our own family members. We are our grandparents now. They are only in the pictures on our wall. They left this body, but their consciousness travels. Likewise here, the present lifetime, then the seed of that karma is carried by the mind. So this is called consciousness, conditioned by mental formation. Whatever creation you have done in the past, creations of karma, is carried to this present life by our consciousness. So if you read, sometimes if you feel doubt about this, the past life and present life, some people do not believe this at all. But if you really look, very nicely, deeply, then you can, experience many different things with your own or sometimes with different people. Like small children, for example, they are able to talk about their previous life. They are able to recognize their previous lives things. This is how, because they have left that body already in the previous life, but they traveled with this consciousness, so they are able to, remember things. Like they have imprinted karma on that consciousness. So the consciousness travels, it brings to this present life. So even though your body is different from your previous life's body, but the consciousness travels. So therefore you are witnessing very small child of 2-3 years old are able to express, able to say, able to recognize their belongings from their previous lifetime. Okay. So there are many examples. There are many things that we can, relate this with the 3 lifetimes, life after death. So this is the consciousness. It brings to present lifetime now. Then the fourth one, by the power of karma, the mind is fully confused. That karma means previous lives formations of karma, and then is carried out by this mind, which is confused state of mind, because you are not enlightened yet, because you are not free from that confusion state of mind, ignorance. Then that consciousness enters into mother's womb. So this is, Buddhist belief, how consciousness travels and enters into mother's womb. So we have already, studied this in our previous chapters. And then from there, that consciousness will have a shelter there, which will then slowly form into physical form, starting from embryo and so forth. and this arise, or you can call, offsprings of mind, human fetus. This is called, and this is, according to Twirling, this is labeled as name and form, conditioned by that consciousness. So when you are within mother's, inside of your mother's womb, it takes, 9 months, about 9 months. There's always development. Every week there's development of your skandhas. And this is the result of previous life's karma. So you are now experiencing the results of that formation of that karma now develops into physical form. The karma that you have created in the previous lifetime, carried out by this consciousness, enters into this present life's mother's womb, and there it starts developing again. The present life. This is second lifetime. Okay. Then the fifth one, by developing name and form within mother's womb, all the senses of the ear, eye, ear, and so forth are completed. And that is called the sixth increasing field conditioned by name and form. So slowly, there's development. Slowly, you will have all these organs, developed slowly, and sense of organs. And whether you want to check whether they have sense developed or not is how you can see is through, when you are delivered from mother's womb. When you came out from mother's womb, what do? You cry. You cry a lot. We all did. I did too. Why we cry? Because we have sense then. We are not like stone or wood. We have already developed these senses, eye, ear, all the senses. And the reason why we cry a lot after coming into this life, after delivering from mother's womb, is because it says in the text that the texture in mother's womb is so comfortable. And once you are outside from that mother's womb, then no matter how soft cotton, how soft thing you place that child with, still he or she feels like, it's like very hard, very harsh. Therefore, it pains. Have, feeling of pain there, rough pain. So that indicates that that child has the sense, a body sense, texture. So that's why he or she is crying. And not only that, inside is very dark and comfortable, but when you come out, it's bright, and then his eyes consciousness cannot handle this brightness, and so he's terrifying for child. That's why it is the reason how we can analyze whether you have developed sense or not. So yeah, you have developed sense. So these are also results of our previous karma coming into this life through carried out by our consciousness. Okay. Then now you're already delivered. Then what happens next is the sixth one, interaction of eye organ and so forth, the corresponding object, and the consciousness is called contact, conditioned by the six increasing fields. So what does this mean? So we need to have some what you call definition here, otherwise it's not easy to understand this. Okay, so now you have all the organs are developed, you have sense now, you are not like stone or wood anymore. Then what happens is that after delivery, you have 5 organs, and this all organ has its object, corresponding objects. For example, eye organ has a corresponding object of form that is known as shape and color. So this eye organ will see form that is shape and color. And with that contact, what happens is eye consciousness develops. So it's like, this eye has a camera. That object of shape and color is the object, sensual object. And with that contact develops eye consciousness. And this is called contact of three things: organ, object, and consciousness. So this consciousness, then, your eye, when you see this table, and then eye consciousness developed. And then once your eye consciousness developed, it's like a picture now. Then after that, even though if you do not look at that table, it is already there, in our mind. It's like picture. It goes, information goes to your mind. So this, now what I'm trying to tell you is this: the contact of these three: organ, object, and consciousness. The communicator between your organ and the object is the consciousness, eye consciousness. Likewise, ear organ is object sound, both nice and pleasant and unpleasant sound. Then contact, which this means communication, is done by ear consciousness. Just like that, same way, nose organ is object of odor and good or bad smell. Then nose consciousness, the communicator. Likewise, tongue organ is object taste, good or bad taste, then tongue consciousness. Then this body organ is object texture, good or bad, smooth or rough, then consciousness, body consciousness. So these are known as, what you call this, 6 increasing fields. Contact of these three, because of 6 increasing field, because of condition by this 6 increasing field, you have this contact: organ, object, and consciousness. So these are happening in this lifetime. So the next 7th is, we only talk about contact now, right? We didn't, up to now, still okay. You have not done anything bad yet. Okay, there's the eye, it saw good object, there's a consciousness. But then you did not make any karma yet. Now comes later, through contact, the 7th link. One experiences the feeling of joy and suffering or indifference. When you see, form, shape, and color, wow, what a beautiful form. Or if you say ugly, oh, what ugly form. Likewise, sound, what a pleasant sound, or what unpleasant sound. What a pleasant smile, what an unpleasant smile. What a good taste, what a bad taste. What a soft texture, what a rough texture. So this all, contact. Through that contact, one experiences the feeling of joy, suffering, and indifference. Happiness, unhappiness or suffering, anger, or indifference. Sometimes when you see like something, no much feeling of joy or suffering, just infinite or neutral. That is called feeling. So now it starts getting feeling. There's a feeling now, conditioned by contact. Because of that, 3 contact of eye organ is object and consciousness. There's a feeling developed. Oh, what a beautiful form. Then there's the joyfulness. Oh, that's feeling. So still up to here, it's still okay. Then next is the 8th one. When there's a feeling, there's a joy, and when there's a joy, there's attachment, obviously, and then even more stronger attachment. When you see good feeling, when you have good feeling, there's more kind of joy and attachment and stronger attachment. When you have bad feeling, there's anger and more anger and stronger anger or dislike. This is now you're trying to differentiate good and bad, my and others. Therefore, slowly, mine have better and much stronger attachment. And in order to protect me and mine, you create another karma. and those who disturb your that attachment, that you value so much, that you think is very important for you. If there's someone who obstructs it, if someone who steals it, then anger, aversion, all this stuff, the creations of karma will start after this. So therefore he says here, when there's feeling, there's joy, attachment, and stronger attachment. That is called craving. Not only joy, but real, attachment to that joy. That is craving. Now starts the formations of karma here, craving. Just having joy was okay. Just having feeling was okay. But then, oh, I want to hold this feeling. This is important, and this is mine. It should be mine. I should get that. I should get that good food. I should get that position. I should get that money. Always now you see, I. The ego clinging will take place here. It was from there, from the the previous karma of not knowing the true nature of mind, but still now you're trying to make it more visible. Then my side, other side, my side attachment, other side anger. This is how you try to create another karma, another suffering, another cycle of existence. Okay, that's conditioned by feeling. You have craving. Now, that craving, from that attachment, one craves more and more and wishes to not to be separated from that object of attachment. And that is called grasping, conditioned by craving. So it gets more stronger and stronger. The level is getting more and more higher, and this is the more higher level it gets, your attachment, then the more karma you will be creating. So therefore, these are another creations of karma, which then results the future. From that attachment, one craves more and more and wishes to not to be separated from that object of attachment. This is called grasping, conditioned by craving. So that's the 9th one. Okay, now up to here is mental creations of karma. Mentally, or you think, oh, this is nice. After that contact, remember, after eye organ is object and eye consciousness, and then feeling of joy or suffering, and then that feeling of joy, you pay more attachment towards that joy, and then the attachments get stronger and more stronger, that you don't want to lose it, you don't want to separate it from it. Then the next step is creations of visible karma. Then next is you trying to kill others, you're trying to steal others' belonging, you're trying to tell lie to others. All these non-virtuous act of our body, speech, and mind will take place after this. So here it says here, through that grasping, karma of and existence of body, speech, and mind are again created. Why he mentioned here again? This is one to be noted. Again means we have already created karma in the previous lifetime. The second link, mental formation. Now in this lifetime, again, we are creating another karma because of that grasping. Because of that grasping, which is conditioned to craving, and which is conditioned by feeling, which is conditioned by contact, which is conditioned by, six existent field, which is conditioned by name and form, which is consciousness conditioned by consciousness. So how it goes back to your previous life. All cause and condition. That's what Buddha says. Because of this, that happened. Because of ignorant, mental formations has happened. Because of their creations of mental formation, it went into with consciousness. Because of consciousness, it traveled to this lifetime. Because of consciousness traveling into this lifetime, it entered into your mother's womb. Because it entered into your mother's womb, it developed inside there, and formed name and form and six organs and sense faculties and so forth. And because of that, it will not stay in your mother's womb forever, isn't it? It should come back into the outside world. There's a delivery time. So once you deliver, then you have this contact organ object, consciousness. Then you have this feeling, good, bad, happiness, unhappiness, or neutral. Then for the joyful feeling, you just could not rest there. You have even much attachment towards that joy, even stronger. That's called what do you call craving, and more stronger than that, grasping. And because of more stronger than that, then creations of visible body, speech, and mind karma. That is known as the 10th, which is known as existence, conditioned by grasping. And this will, travels to next lifetime, because you have already created karma there. And again, same manner, that formations of that karma will place in consciousness, and then consciousness travels into next lifetime. Okay, so now we are going back to next lifetime. So from here, it didn't say we are getting age, sickness, and death, but it says we create that karma there, then this karma will go with our consciousness to next lifetime. So we assume that we are now died already, this death, this present life death already. Now we are traveling to next life. Because of that creation karma will travel with us, or with our consciousness, to next life. Okay, so here the 11th is the traveling to the next life. That karma created by 5 aggregates, that is called birth, conditioned by existence. So this birth is not this life's birth. This birth is future life's birth. Okay, now we are going to future life, the 3rd cycle of existence. Then again, same thing, that consciousness traveled to next life, same manner, enters into mother's womb, develops within there, comes out, and then it jumps. The explanation jumps up to birth, because we already know other parts similar way. So the birth, the next life's birth, that's the 11th. Birth conditioned by existence of that karma. Then after birth, the aggregate which actually exists increases, rapidens, and ceases. After birth, again same thing. Another after birth, then you contact the organs, object, consciousness, contact will take place, and then a feeling will appear, and then to grasp and to make importance to that feeling, you have more attachment, that is known as craving, then more stronger attachment, that is known as grasping, and not because of that you will another create karma of body and speech and mind, very visible creations of karma. So then you continue another existence. So here, if you have the instructions of the Buddha, if you are Dharma practitioner, then when there's a contact, your organ, eye organ, object, shape and color, and eye consciousness, then develops feeling, oh, what a good body. Then if you have Dharma instructions there, then you say, oh, it is good body, but then there's no much use to have attachment towards this body. You know what I mean? Because from the Dharma, from Buddha's instruction, that, oh, this very beautiful body will one day fade, will one day falls apart. It's the nature of change. Then you will not have attachment. You will not have craving towards that body. You will not have grasping towards that body. And when you do not have craving and grasping towards that body, you will not create karma. Because then you are free from creations of that karma. Because you already know the reality, the truth of that beautiful form. Likewise with sound, smell, taste, and texture. So now we can understand how Dharma teaching can help us. Otherwise, as we talk about it here, how it went, continuously travels from previous life to this lifetime and then to next lifetime. And if you do not know this true nature of impermanence, and suffering nature and emptiness nature, then you are always overpowered by this, creations of karma. You are overpowered by this craving, grasping, and creations of karma. That karma travels with our consciousness to the next lifetime, another, existence of suffering of samsara. So this is very important to know. Okay, so here it says that's the next lifetime. After birth, aggregates which actually exist increase first, repents, and then cease. One day it has to die. Repents means aging, cease means death, and this is called aging and death conditioned by birth. If there's a birth, there's aging and there's death. If there's no birth, no aging, no death. So you want to take birth or not? The choice is yours. You want to come back to this samsara, you want to take birth through this samsara, overpowered by ignorance, it's our choice. Or if you want to clear this ignorance and do not want to come back to this samsara and take another birth, overpowered by ignorance, it's our choice. Or if you want to come back to this samsara without control by ignorance, but with your own choice, then that's like bodhisattvas trying to come back to samsara to benefit sentient beings. Okay, so this is simple understanding of dual links. So having said that, we stop here for today. We try to understand dual link as much as possible, relating them with 3 lifetimes. Thank you very much for your participation. So we should make dedication prayers dedicated to all the sentient beings, especially those who are suffering from this pandemic. May their suffering heal. May this pandemic heal, and may all of us can again, have opportunity to practice Dharma, do something good things for others and for yourself as well. Please join your hands together with me to pray for this pandemic. All those who are suffering due to this pandemic, all those who lost their life due to this pandemic. May all these beings, may they experience happiness in their next life. May they have good birth in the next life. May they be able to get the blessings of Amitabha. So nam de namje zebanye tobne nyebe tanam pamje ne gega na che balap chobai sebe chole chogwenyo do sho changju semcho rembo che ma ge panam ke giru che ke ba nyam ba me ba kongne gongdo da war sho semje ne ba jingi ba nyop to ne le ta kyo che chobe ne ne ma lu ba ta do chungwa me ba sho molom ge bo de ta cho ge so pa yen to kon la pen je shi Kundu Sangbo Gembe Shundu Tenyan Songmen Amalu Tongba Sho